Welcome to Haken, an Animal Crossing podcast, your podcast dedicated to all things Animal Crossing. Episode 134 is brought to you by Hyped Up Teacup, Pandora, and Indy Sarah, some of our newest Patreon patrons. This week, Nina, Sergio, and I will be checking in with our gameplay, briefly discussing some special occurrences on Harv's Island, and then going deep with the villagers, how we got ours, and our thoughts on their dialogue. So to begin, hi Sergio, how you doing?
Hello, Chui. I'm doing rather well. Side note, I just noticed this episode is gonna air on the 7th anniversary of New Leaf coming out in North America, June 9th.
Oh, wow. That's pretty awesome. June 9th. What a day. That takes me back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, hi, Nina. How are you doing?
I'm doing really well, having a great, beginning of the week so far, and getting back into some drawing, which feels nice. So I'm feeling good.
That's awesome. Yeah. So I guess I have a question for both of you. I guess maybe mostly Nina. Nina, did you get New Leaf on launch day?
Oh, yeah. I was out of school at the time, so I was ready and waiting for it. Yes.
Awesome. That's good to hear. And then Sergio and I, we both got it launch day. I know we've talked about it a lot, but the other day I'm in a little chat room with Medi and some other people on Twitter, and they were kind of talking about like what is some feature that they wanted back from New Leaf. And I don't know. I guess there's kind of a lot, but also not too many in some ways. Like the Dream Suite would be really nice to have.
Yes.
But are there any that you both would like? Or I guess you can start, Sergio.
I mean, I was thinking the Dream Suite because it's so nice to always have a permanent copy of your town, even if it's, before, like, so you can kind of keep track of your progress. If we're excluding that, definitely the gyroids. I miss them so much.
Yeah, and that's kind of something that's like been around in every Animal Crossing game except for this one.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they're missed for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then what about you, Nina?
I miss, someone in the Discord brought it up maybe yesterday, that Katrina, I can't believe how much I miss Katrina, actually. I think she'd be such easy like plaza visitor. And I miss Digby and his little rain jacket. There's just so many special characters that I miss.
Yeah, and I'm sure a big one for a lot of people is definitely Brewster and his cafe too. Yeah. I don't think we'd hear the end of it if we went without mentioning him.
No, but at least we have speculation that he's coming.
Yeah, there are some rumors out there, some things that may have been data mined or not. Who knows? Who knows how true they are? But it seems like there's a lot of, space in the data that says this stuff could be in the game later. And we're here in June and it's wedding season at the moment, but that was essentially where the updates ended for the last bit of news that we got for New Horizons. So who knows? Like, maybe later this month, maybe early next month, we're going to start hearing something about like what's up next, you know?
Yes. So how exciting.
I know, we're going to have so much to talk about.
Well, we haven't had a direct in a really long time, so I'm wondering if it'll be just like a little segment in the direct about like updates to New Horizons.
Yeah, and it does seem like, now is usually the time where direct season is rolling around because there's no E3 this year.
Ugh, rest in peace.
I know, and there's a lot of, I guess, companies just kind of doing their own announcements and sort of that sort of thing, and I don't know. I guess the last rumors I heard was that like directs are not happening in any time soon.
Yeah,
at least, that's been the rumor lately. But yeah, I mean, like, it's E3 season. Technically, it's supposed to be right now, E3 season. But yeah, there's no news on the horizon and no news for New Horizons. But hopefully, I still think like maybe sometime this month, maybe early next month, like I said, because even today, I don't know if you both noticed, but there's some new stuff to order on the Nook shopping app or the Nook Stop, if that's how you go do your shopping there. But there's essentially the winter solstice sweater and the summer solstice crown, which is like this sunflower crown. Did either of you get those?
Yeah, I
No.
got both, but accidentally ordered too many crowns, so I'm gonna have to wait till tomorrow for the sweater.
Okay. And then it sounds like you didn't know they were a thing, Sergio.
No, not at all.
Well, there you go. You have a nice little surprise waiting for you when you log back in.
Yeah.
So there's still like dropping stuff slowly and things are happening, and getting added to the game, but who knows if it's just going to be like a tweet, Maybe they put a random video up on their YouTube later. Maybe even like tonight, tomorrow night. I don't know. I feel like literally earlier today, I was going to tweet, you know what? Nintendo always does really unexpected things. Watch them announce a handheld console like this week.
Oh.
Just out of nowhere, But yeah, who knows? Who knows what they're up to? I mean, clearly, just for all of you to be aware, I mean, the coronavirus stuff is still going on. Japan has had a harder time. Japanese companies have had a harder time with it, just based on like their own company culture, how people work. But they tend to prefer working in the office and having a space where they go and do things. So we have no idea how they're handling that stuff. And then from what I've heard, just kind of like rumors from people who have like gone to Nintendo and visited and done stuff there, they're very strict about like what leaves their premises. So I don't know if I believe that anybody's like who has to be working on games is working on them from home. Like I don't think they allow unfinished games outside of the office. So who knows what the situation is, knowing that I don't know. I'm sure they're a company that's being careful. I've seen them announce things. I've seen other, I guess, workers at Nintendo Treehouse, at Nintendo of America, say that, they're taking it seriously and they've got to stay home. So who knows what the situation is now, but we can just hope that there's going to be news in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll just have to make our own fun and host some like Haken games or something like that.
Honestly, somebody mentioned, I forget who on our Discord, but they mentioned doing Haken Home Designer and just essentially doing like a happy home designer challenge where they decorate a room for some time and then we all kind of like visit, and
we could give out themes and people could send in pictures.
Exactly. So I think we need to make this happen ASAP.
Okay, I'm gonna write it down.
Awesome. Yeah, and then maybe we'll give them like a week to do a theme, and then we'll all go and visit their homes and things, and yeah, I think that'll be fun.
Oh my gosh, amazing.
Awesome. So, well, I guess we're on the topic of gameplay, but I wanted to do a quick gameplay check-in with all of you, see how your week has been. I guess I don't know what we talked about last as far as our islands went, but I know I've been doing a lot. I know you have both probably been doing a lot, but yeah, I guess, Sergio, do you want to start with giving us some of your updates?
Yeah, sure. And I guess the biggest development on Castaño, which is my island, is that I decided to flatten everything, and it's taken a couple of weeks, but happy to say finally it's basically completed. Pretty much everything is flat except the waterfall, which is a 3-tier waterfall. And I left it where the original was, even though it was only a 1-tier waterfall, because it was right next to Julian's house. And so many times I walked by and Julian was singing at the waterfall. I could tell he really liked to do that. So I said, okay, you know what, Julian? The waterfall is staying by you, and I'm going to make it even better for you. And it's pretty nice. It actually has like it's like a lake/river the way I did it. So it's kind of like both. But the waterfall itself, that's the 3-tier part. It's very nice, and I think he likes it.
I can't wait to see it. Yeah, you've done so much with that island, and just to know, like, you've probably been spending like most of your days just taking it all apart and making it mostly one tier, you know?
Yes.
So yeah, but I also like that you've kept things that you've noticed that villagers like, you know?
Yeah, yeah. And I guess ideally my approach was I want to keep everything the exact way it is, just flatten everything down. But I mean, it ended up not working that way. I had to change some of the areas. I want to say it's for the better. We have some cool new areas to explore. Um, a lot of new paths really to just to connect everything with different roads. Um, we ended up losing some space for flowers, I guess, overall, but I think it's worth it because I really like having different paths. So if you're in one corner of the island and you want to go to the other, you have many ways to get there, but also different things that you can see or do on your way to that other
Mm.
corner. So like you can take different paths if you want to see different things or do different things.
That's
Are you
cool.
are you still using mostly custom made paths?
Yes, yes, definitely all custom. Oh, one oh, I forgot to mention this. One really cool thing about the custom paths is that now that it's summer, I actually most of my paths is like a wooden path. And
Mhm.
I'm changing the hue a little bit. I made it a little bit more yellowish.
Mm.
Like the wood is getting warmed up because of the sun. So everything looks a little more yellow, a little more summery. It looks nice. It's a nice way to like change the theme of the island in a way.
Yeah. The
So when you
green.
change
Oh, sorry.
sorry. So when you change like the pattern itself, does it remove them all or does the pattern just like change and stay where it is?
Yeah, it stays where it is. It just changes the
Oh,
color.
nice.
You
That's
can make
so
a tiny
nice.
little change, and all of them change.
Mm.
That's awesome. That's so good
Yes.
to hear. I was scared that you had to just go and repath your entire island again.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, we lost some space for flowers, so now we have actually a lot of additional flowers like extras, and I'm deciding which ones to keep. You know, which ones we need more hybrids of, so we can breed
Mm.
those, and then I'm gonna have to end up selling a lot of them or giving them away. I think that's the last part of the process. All the houses are where they should be. We just need to finish some of the fencing around the houses and then
Mm.
the flowers, and that should be it. Finally, Castaño is gonna be restored to normal.
Oh, how nice.
Yeah, that I had something that I was thinking of that you said early on, but I don't remember what my question was for that. Yeah, cool. So I guess your villagers are all back to normal and everything. Have any of them moved out or given you any or any pictures lately?
Pictures. Oh, I think today I got Mary's picture, which I thought I already had, but I didn't. Yeah,
Oh,
she's a favorite of mine, so I was glad to get it.
awesome.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, she's cute. I like her a lot.
Yes.
Yeah. So what about you, Nina? What have you been working on your island?
Well, I've finally started getting pictures. I got Annalisa and Julia's pictures this week, which was
Oh.
so exciting. Um, and they're not even some of my oldest villagers, so it's interesting that how random it is. Once you hit
Yeah.
that level 5 friendship with them, it is just so random who gives you what. So that's
Yeah.
exciting.
I haven't
Um,
hit that with anybody yet.
you'll get there.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Keelhaul's layout has mostly stayed the same. I like to change like I've got like little hidey holes of different areas that I change new things out in or trying to get new things into old sections to brighten them up.
Yes. Right. Right.
Yeah. And I've kind of been playing around with like mixing and matching flowers. So instead of like a section having only yellow tulips, I kind of am doing like a checkerboard pattern and testing how different flowers look together, which has been
Mm.
fun. Um, and then my southern hemisphere island, Fox Cove, has like luckily not been a big distraction from Keelhaul. I was kind of worried when I started it that I'd lose interest in my pirate friends. But I've been logging on maybe every other day to kind of check in, which has been a nice little change of pace. Um,
Mhm.
and it's already updating its museum, which is so fast to me because we waited so long for it. But it's
yeah.
nice. It's nice to kind of relive everything and listen to the old beginning of the game music and see Tommy out with his flag. It's been a fun little vacation.
Yeah, that's really cool. I also really want to like relive those beginning moments of the game for sure. It just seems like a fun time to revisit it for some reason, just because I don't know, I guess I'm at the point with my island where I see it all empty and bare and I'm trying so hard to fill it up again. And I'm just like, take me back to the beginning of the game when this was all full, you know?
Well, I'll spend some time in Fox Cove and then come back home to Keel Hall and be like, "Well, this is swanky. Like, look at all the paths. It's such a stark difference. It's kind of nice."
Yeah, that's really nice. Like just to have a new appreciation for what your place is, because people spend so much time on their own islands, and then when they see somebody else's, and they're like, "Oh man, this island's so much better."
Right.
Yeah, so it's good to like go back and feel that appreciation again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Cool. I guess, yeah, so with my island, I kind of mentioned it a bit earlier, but I am terraforming like crazy. I've destroyed so many things. I don't know if you all heard. I want to say we mentioned it on the podcast, but you both visited me for like kind of our live test run of our set. And you said it was kind of freaky coming to my place because it was so empty.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's been freaky living in it too, because I just like run around and I'm in nothing trying to find a fossil in the middle of nowhere. Yeah. So it can get
it's
pretty
hard
tough.
to get your bearings. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've actually like gone back to having my map on always. Like for a long time, for the beginning of the game, I had my map on the whole time, and then I turned it off after a while. I was like, I know where I am. I don't need it anymore. And it's just like it gets in the way of seeing the whole world for me. But now I've turned it back on because I'm just like, where am I? I'm running nowhere right now. So yeah, my world is changing all around me at the moment. I've been focused on doing tons of terraforming. On stream yesterday, I moved my campsite and started building it out again and everything. And yeah, I've mostly completed that this morning. So yeah, I guess it's Sunday right now for everybody listening. But yeah, this morning I finished my campsite, and now I'm starting to hopefully move on to working on the residential area. And I say that hesitantly because it's a huge area. And I know it's going to take a lot of trial and error for that part. It's kind of overwhelming at the moment, but I think I've got to go in accepting that I'm probably going to move a house in a spot and then not like where it is at all, and then have to move it out of the way, and then just to move it over like one space, you know? So I've accepted that.
I wonder if you can lay down like paths of how big the houses are going to be. So you have like a little marker of where you think you want your house before you start moving them back.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I could do that to an extent, but like part of it is going to be like the natural landscaping around it and everything too. And just like, there's a lot of different stuff that I think like I'll probably move a house where I want it to be. And then once I start messing with that space, I'm going to find out, oh no, this isn't exactly where I wanted it to be. I'm going to, maybe I can fix it with re-terraforming some part. Maybe I'm going to have to just move the house and move it back, you know? So I'm going into it knowing that that's going to be my life for the next, I don't know, month, I suspect. But my goal is essentially just like have it done at some time this summer, and then just be able to enjoy like autumn, Halloween, all of the really fun holidays with like my ideal setup, you know?
Oh, right.
Nice.
Yeah. And I guess this game's really crazy to me because it's insane to me that we can just like completely destroy everything, move all of the houses and buildings out of the way, and then just like reshape everything from scratch. I don't know how much I'd recommend doing it by the way I'm like feeling right now.
Oh no.
I mean, I'm not feeling like terrible about it, but I'm just feeling like this is a huge job, and I really commend the people who have already done it, because it's hard work. It's hard to do that, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Is you take it like square by square, day by day, so you don't get too overwhelmed.
Yeah. And and it's always like a little bit of a debate with me, like what I want to try, because I'm also like, it's not only the houses that this is going to happen to, like it's going to be the inclines, the bridges. Like maybe I commit to something with like an incline or a bridge, and then I put something else around there, and I'm like, oh no, this isn't right. I'm going to have to tear down this bridge today, and then maybe place it somewhere else tomorrow after I terraform things. So yeah, there's so much to take into account when you're working on this stuff.
Yeah, and like for someone like me who I've kind of feel like I've had Keelhaul the way I've liked it for a while, there were weeks where I would just be messing with inclines or moving little bits or trying to make my rivers look more natural. So, I think those little changes are just part of the process.
Yeah. Yeah. And, it's fun. I think overall it's still really fun to do that. Now that I've done the campsite thing, I'm just like, oh, I think I want to do something different than I thought I would want to. So yeah, I'm going to see where that takes me for now. But yeah, the next big thing, I just bought turnips today. So I'm like, okay, well, right now that I have a bunch of turnips, it might be a good time to start working on that farm that I've always wanted to make for my farm animals, So yeah, just as things happen throughout the week, you find different inspirations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
Cool. So, I mean, that's our gameplay for right now. We've got a lot of stuff going. Sergio, since your place is pretty done, I might have to go visit again.
Yeah, I guess finally, we can say we welcome you, Tree.
Awesome.
We're ready to have you again.
Cool. I'm excited to go. Awesome. Well, okay, we talked about this before recording, but I'm gonna go on mute, or I'm gonna mute both of you. You can let me know when to come back, but you're gonna talk about Harv's Island. Well, actually, I'll jump in for the beginning of this, but let's talk about Harv's Island, the whole wedding season thing. Now we've got a little bit more experience with it. I haven't gotten as far as both of you because I missed 2 days, so I think something special is supposed to happen for me tomorrow. So there's something I don't know about. I'll let you all talk about that by yourselves. I'm not going to listen. I want to be surprised still. But yeah, I guess for me, I'll just chime in and then mute you both so I don't hear anything. But for me, the wedding thing has been really cool. I just unlocked that big organ item.
Oh, yeah.
And
yes.
Man, this is like taking the stuff that's good from Pocket Camp and Happy Home Designer, where it's like, for one, you get like total free reign over how you decorate things, like Happy Home Designer, But then for two, like Pocket Camp is constantly introducing all of these really cool new items that we didn't have access to before. And this one seems like one of those really cool new items that we didn't have access to before, So yeah, I've been really excited about that. But overall, I've been doing the challenge portion pretty quickly,
Yeah.
Just because I kind of learned you can cheese it a little bit, where you just like fill the walls up to the brim with all of those like hanging flower things that they have. And then that'll get you your 11 heart pieces or whatever it's called.
That's true.
Right.
Yeah. So I do it pretty quickly, but yeah, I'm okay. I'm muting both of you. You both can talk about all of this and go crazy.
Get out of here, Chewy.
All right. Just let me, message me. Let me know when I can come back.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. See ya.
Bye. Sergio, do you want to start?
Yeah, and I was thinking, I also didn't want to spoil it for our listeners, but they're gonna be listening to days in the future, and I think most people probably have played enough times or have done the event the number of days required for this special event to happen, and it was so nice. I guess we can just say I think it was 5 days, right? Or
Yeah.
was it? I think so. And basically, there's a party as part of the wedding. It starts out the same. You decorate the party with a couple of new items, but
Mm-hmm.
Reese tells you that you can also invite your villagers. She's gonna take care of that. You just let her know when you're done with the layout, and then you can bring. I think it was up to 8 of your villagers, and
Mm-hmm.
you can also invite Wilbur, which was pretty
Yes, that was
nice.
so random. I was a
I
little upset
guess.
I couldn't invite everybody, but I had been waiting to fill the hall with people, so it was super exciting for me.
Yeah. Yeah, it was so nice, and you keep getting like a daily item. You keep getting
Mm-hmm.
heart crystals every day,
Mm-hmm.
and then we even got like a decorative plate by Reese and Cyrus as part of the party. And Nina, I think you mentioned even the villagers have them in their houses right after the wedding.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So the ones that you invite to their reception party, Reese and Cyrus's on Harv's Island, the next day will have a little commemorative plate, which kind of reminds me of like the royal weddings where they have commemorative plates of Reese and
Yeah.
Cyrus and they show up in those villagers' houses. It's so cute.
Yes, and you get one too. And when I saw it over at Sylvia's house, I thought, "Oh no, did I give her that on accident? I wanted it for me, you know." But
Right.
yeah, it makes sense that they also get one, which is nice.
And it was so nice how it had its own like little cutscene with Reese thanking you and all the villagers smiling. It's kind of like when you do a ceremony for a bridge or opening or like one of the
Yes.
stores. It's really sweet. So even if this is spoiling for some people who haven't been doing the wedding season stuff, maybe this will kind of give them some incentive to keep working for it because it's really sweet.
Yes, that's a good point because to me it came at a point where the event was getting a little bit stale. It was
Yes.
nice to go back for a daily item, and for the hearts to see
Mhm.
what we can buy in the future. But the timing was perfect. Like when it
Mhm.
happened, it was so nice of a change. And then in a way it only opens up for more changes because now the theme is completely different after that.
Yes. Well, and so it had come at a perfect time for me because the day before I was so tired of the pink and white. They're just not my colors. That I had given Reese and Cyrus this beautiful, like, Sound of Music mountain wedding, and they hated it. Reese was so mad at me, and I think I
Oh
got
man.
like 6 hearts.
Oh.
But so I'm really excited that now we do get to play, and today, so the day after the ceremony, we got some really cool new stuff too. So
Yes.
just keep going, push on through.
Right. I think we stopped getting like a free item, or I
Mm,
think I didn't, but we still get the crystals and we can still buy them from Cyrus.
right, right. Well, we do get the two new. I watched my friend Michi play it. I haven't done it yet, but she got the fence and the wand recipe.
Oh, that's correct. Yes.
Yeah, which looks like a little bouquet. So I don't know. I don't even think they're the last items. I still think that there's clothing coming up. So
Oh,
it's
that's
worth it to
nice.
keep playing.
Yes, and the more the event keeps going, it's getting Harv more involved into it, which is nice too. Because
Yeah.
he's there. He's a big part of this thing.
Yeah, it's really cute. And it's giving me an excuse to go to Harv's Island because I really didn't do much there at all before.
Yeah, and so like we said, it's gonna keep changing every day. It's probably gonna
Hmm.
change, after we do it 5 times again.
Yeah.
So it's good. It's good encouragement to keep going, maybe the entire month and see what we get.
Yeah. I wonder if you do all 30 days if you'll get something special.
Oh,
That would be cool.
that takes some dedication, but I guess the event itself is making it worth it. It's keeping us coming
Hmm.
back for one more new item or one more set of crystals to buy something big at the end.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think it's been really well done. Like I said, it kind of felt like it was getting a little repetitive, but they
Yeah,
changed it at the perfect time, and it's been so good.
for real. Yeah, yeah. I totally agree. Perfect. Shall we call
Yeah,
back Chewy?
I think so. I think we covered everything.
Let's see here.
Hello, I'm back.
Chewy, Sergio and I are married now.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good to know.
We were so inspired.
Yes, we were so moved by, this event.
Awesome. Well, sounds great. I'll be there.
Okay.
Cool. Well, yeah, I thought all that stuff was awesome. I also was excited about that when I saw it on tomorrow.
Yes. Future Chewy really had fun.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. Cool. So let's go ahead and get back on track and start talking about all those villagers. There are... Yeah, well, the villagers are a big part of Animal Crossing. If you've played the game, you know that you interact with them, you talk to them, you have a bunch of, experiences in the game that revolve around these characters, right? And so I guess one question we got from some people was just like how we got our villagers and stuff. And then we were also talking a little bit about how the dialogue was really cool. So we thought we'd go all out and talk all about that. So let's go ahead and start by talking about how we got our villagers. And it's funny, I'll start here. But it's funny because as I looked at my list of villagers and I thought about like where they came from, I surprised myself after looking at them because I got one that was like a random move-in. That was Roscoe, and this was honestly like a long time ago. It was very early on in the game. Another two of them I got from Mystery Islands, which were Tipper and Kevin Bacon. So Tipper was one of my early ones as well, and then Kevin Bacon was probably, I think that's my newest villager that I've gotten, if I recall correctly. I think that's my newest. And then all of the rest of my villagers, I actually scanned in via amiibo cards. And this is what surprised me, essentially, because I did not think that I was going to use amiibo cards to get all of my villagers, but here I am with, I don't know, 6, 7 out of 10 of them who are from amiibo. But I guess I'll list them for you. I got Pearl, who's a little cat, Grizzly, the grizzly bear, and then I've got
not me.
Yeah, not Grizzly Nina. And then I've got. Well, actually, funny story. I do get really confused sometimes because the villagers will mention you, Nina, and they'll say, "Oh yeah, Grizzly." They'll say something about Grizzly, and I'm just like, "This doesn't sound like Grizzly." So yeah, I do get confused sometimes.
I'm sorry.
No, it's not you. It's Grizzly.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so then there's Eunice, who is a little sheep that runs a laundromat. Love her. And then there's Benedict. He's a chicken. Bonbon is a bunny. Deirdre is a deer. Duh. And then there's Henry, who is a little frog. But yeah, like most of mine are amiibo villagers at this point. None of them are the original 5 that I got, anymore. I kicked them out as soon as I found out their homes were always gonna look the way they did.
What made you, oh, sorry.
No, go for it.
What made you choose those villagers to scan in?
So I guess with Pearl, I just really liked Pearl, and I think all the time people were asking me like, who's your favorite villager, who's the best villager in the game, kind of stuff, and I'd be like, I don't really know. And then I think at one point I always really liked Pearl, and I'd wanted her in my, I think, New Leaf town for a little bit. I never did get her in there, but after seeing Pearl in one little scene during, I think, the Direct, I think it was like when we finally got the Animal Crossing Direct, I saw Pearl and I was just like, yep, Pearl's going to be on my island. And so, yeah, she was the first one I scanned in to get through Amiibo. And then right after that was Grizzly. And Grizzly, basically what I was going for was I've always really liked the cranky villagers, and I wanted one that seemed like especially cranky looking, and Grizzly really fit that category really well. And after a bit, I was just like, oh, and I love the mountains and everything. I think he just fit my vibe really well. So I thought, oh, his house would look really good, kind of like off to the side, away from everybody. But yeah, Grizzly, I liked for that. Eunice, I was just really. My inspiration with Eunice was basically that I had a bunch of farm animals at the time, and I was like, I want to make a farm. And so Eunice, I didn't have a normal villager anymore. Like, I let Marina move away because she was one of my first 5, you know? And so that's why I grabbed Eunice, because I was like, oh yeah, a sheep, that works with my whole barn theme that I've got here. I'm going to get Eunice for that. The inside of her house is not barn themed at all. It's laundromat themed. And then Benedict, same kind of thing. I was like, oh, a chicken. That would be really nice for my place. And because I just let go of Puck, who was a little penguin, and I liked him, but yeah, I was just like, oh, Puck, he doesn't really fit this barn vibe, and he's one of my first 5, so see ya. Bon Bon is a bunny. I guess after a bit, I was like, all right, maybe I'll do like farm animals and forest critters. And so Bon Bon, little bunnies in the forest, that's what I was going for there. And then Deirdre followed closely after that. And then I had Zell at the same time, but then I was like, oh, now I have 2 deers. I have Deirdre and Zell. I think I'm going to replace Zell. And so...
Oh, dear.
Oh, yeah. Oh, dear. And so, yeah, I decided to replace Zell in that. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to need another smug villager. And then I thought Henry kind of fit like that foresty vibe, just being like a frog near like a pond, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So,
gosh, and you've got to have a frog villager just to see them walk in the rain.
Oh, yeah, they're so cute. Yeah. And then, yeah, I guess with Tipper and Kevin Bacon, they're a cow and a pig, and then Roscoe's a horse. So, yeah, barn animal vibes for sure.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah, I've got a horse, a cow, a pig, a chicken, a sheep. And, yeah, I think those are all my barn animals. And then I guess
Old
Pearl...
McChewy.
Yeah. And then I guess Pearl's a cat who can just be anywhere.
Yeah. Well, you need a barn cat.
Yeah, barn cat, but she's also a wild cat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the story of my villagers, and I honestly did not expect to get so many via amiibo cards. I think I'm breaking that, though. I haven't been scanning amiibo cards for like weeks now. I think it's been 2-3 weeks at this point that I haven't scanned any in. And so the last villager I got, like I said, was Kevin Bacon. And I actually did the whole villager hunting thing for him. I went to 10 different islands, and he was on the 10th one. And I was like, Kevin's awesome. I'm going to take him. So yeah.
Yeah, you streamed that, right?
Yeah, I did stream that, so it's out there.
Yeah.
It was just one Saturday when I was or Sunday, I don't remember, but it was a nice, perfect weekend day for me to stream that whole experience. Because I knew it would take a little while. But yeah, that's probably the method I'm going to do, I guess, from here on out. I'll probably pick if a villager decides to move away. There's some that I think I'll say no to at this point, just because I think I'm getting close to getting their photo. But the thing is, with a lower, and I think this is true, I heard it once and I kind of remembered it, and I haven't looked anywhere to confirm if this is real, but I think if you have a lower town rating, the villagers will ask to move more often.
Oh.
So I have had at this point both Grizzly and Pearl ask to move, and I said no, obviously. First off, it was only their first time asking, so usually my rule is if they ask twice, they can go. But I think now that I've destroyed everything, they're asking a little bit more frequently, and I'm getting closer. I am building relationships with these villagers, and they are not going to leave without giving me their photo. I am avoiding that for sure. So yeah,
they're this is not the Haken we knew.
Yeah, so I think for now, I am not going to really let anybody leave until I feel like my island's back in a normalish state and they're not asking to leave as frequently, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's my villager story. There's a lot going on. They are cute though, and I'll have some stories to tell you about what they're talking about on my island because they have a lot to say.
I can't
Oh,
wait.
nice.
Yeah. So Sergio, what's your story with your villagers?
Cool. So my story is a lot more simple. Very, tried and true. Basically, my starters were Curly the pig and Sylvia the kangaroo. And I love the kangaroos because I feel like you're getting an extra villager in a way. For example, Sylvia, she has her Joey. I think it's a boy. We call him Silvio. So
Sylvia.
I feel like you're getting an extra villager with them. So yeah, those were the starters, and I love them for sure. So after that, all my other villagers have come from Mystery Island tours, and basically I go whenever I have an empty lot. I go on a mystery tour, and whoever I see, I get. And
Wow.
so far, it's been Mary the cat, Sky the wolf, Julian the horse slash unicorn, which is nice. Charlie's the bear, Wolfgang the wolf, Ketchup the bird, Matilda the kangaroo, and I think this Joey is a girl. I can probably call her Mathelma. And the newest edition is Bea the dog, which is
Man,
her catchphrase is bingo, and I always want to call her bingo because I think it's a great name.
you had some heavy hitters for random island tours.
Yeah.
Yeah, and these were all just like on the first island that you landed on?
Yes.
That's insane.
That is.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
So, I like most of them for sure. Like, I like all of them, but there are some repeat personalities. For example, Charlize and Ketchup, they're too similar to the other villagers that I have with the same personality, especially Charlize. She's exactly like Sylvia, but without the Joey. So it's like, yeah, I like you, but your Sylvia has the Joey, so it's like two against one. And then Ketchup is a peppy villager, but she's really not as authentic as Mary is. Mary's always singing and actually dressing nicely. And Ketchup is kind of doing her own thing. So basically, both of those I would be okay if they left whenever they're ready. That's fine. But yeah, the rest of my villagers, I like them a lot. And we kind of do need a lazy villager because Eric left us, unfortunately, and we don't have a lazy. And I know we're missing out on some reactions. And I guess also the recipes that they craft, maybe the personalities have something to do with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we do need a lazy at some point. But honestly, thinking back on how I've gotten these villagers, I do want to try the different methods. I want to get somebody that's in boxes. I want to get someone that shows up on the campsite on their own. And I also want to scan an amoeba at some point. But my problem is whenever I have an empty lot, I just want to fill it right away. I feel like Castaño is not fully Castaño unless it has the 10 villagers, so I don't want to be without all 10 all the time, but eventually that should wear out, and I should experiment with other methods of getting villagers.
Yeah. And I think that if you don't go mystery hopping, your empty lot gets filled the next day. So you wouldn't be down a villager for too long.
Oh, that's right.
I guess I haven't really tried this at all, but I think I had one friend where they had an empty lot for about a week before it got
Whoa,
filled.
really?
Yeah, so I think there is some variation on it. And eventually, when it did get filled, they did receive one of their friends' villagers that they had visited.
Oh.
So they recognize the villager. And you know what? Now that that's mentioned, though, Jackie actually got Billy from my island recently.
Oh.
So he lives over there now. I went and talked to him, and he said, "Hey, it's you." And so he still remembered me and everything. And it was fun. It was fun to meet up with him again.
Yeah, so there's another good reason to maybe leave a lot open for a little while.
Yeah. And
That's true.
it also makes me feel like we should be able to build relationships with our friends' villagers, and maybe like depending on like how good a friend you became with that villager, maybe they'll be more likely to move in,
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so
That
say
would
you
be
visit
really nice.
Yeah, so say you visit a friend like, I don't know, this month, and then you don't see them again till maybe one whole year later. And then, by then maybe they've had a lot of villagers move in and out, and you get the one that you were closest to when you were over there.
Right, right.
So I think that'd be a really cool thing to take into account.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Cool. So I guess, Nina, who are your villagers? How'd you get them?
So, just like you, Chewy, most of mine are Amiibo card villagers, which I was also surprised about because that wasn't how I was planning on playing either. But I'll start with my two that aren't from Amiibo. Annalisa and Zell are both from Mystery Island Hopping. Annalisa, I wanted someone kind of spooky to live up in my graveyard, so she was perfect. And Zell, I was just looking for a smug villager, and he was the first one to come along, so he was perfect. For my Amiibo card ones, I have, I scanned in Muffy, the sheep, Tank, the Rhino, Rodeo, the bull, and Gaston the rabbit because they're some of my favorites. And I've had them in past towns, and I wanted them again. So they I scanned in for love. Buzz the eagle and Sherry the little pink bear cub. They're interesting because I scanned them in for their house style. Buzz has a really nice kind of rustic Japanese style that I put in my Japanese garden, and Sherry has this really pretty white, like the stucco kind that's rounded.
Yes.
And Pinky used to live in her spot, and Pinky's house is this really bright pink and yellow Chinese shape that didn't really match the area it was in, so Sherry replaced her, which was perfect because they're both peppy, too. And then Julia the ostrich, well, she's really a peacock, and Lily the frog were personality type replacements. So I needed a new... what is she? Snooty for Julia, because I didn't like Becky. I had Becky before, who's a purple chicken, and she wasn't my favorite. And Lily was replacing Eugene because I didn't want to have two smugs. I'd rather have two normal types. So they were perfect little additions to my island.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of on the same wavelength still. I'm a little bit over scanning in the Amiibos. Plus, I've kind of exhausted. I don't have a huge collection of Amiibos, so I've kind of exhausted my collection. So I think from now on, I'll either island hop or let someone random move in. But I want to get the pictures before I let anyone else move out.
Yeah. Yeah, that's I can agree with that. I mean, some I'd be fine if I didn't get their pictures, but the two that I definitely need are Pearl and Grizzly for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really vibing with all my islanders right now. I think I'm going to have to get everyone's photo before they're allowed to leave.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay,
and I mean, that's
group.
also tough too, because like, I also look at my villagers and I'm just like, oh, they're great. They're so much fun right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's always tough to see them go, but I do know that eventually my current hiatus of my rule where I let them move if they ask twice it's gonna be a rule again pretty soon, probably by like next month or so. And then I'm just gonna have to hope that by then I've done enough to be their friends.
Right. Oh, and I forgot to mention that I've had two really good campers since I've stopped scanning in camper amiibos that have made it super hard to not move someone out because I haven't gotten their picture yet. I had Meringue, the cute little pastry rhino, camping, and then I had Antonio, the anteater. I was like, oh no, it was really hard to say no to him.
Yeah, those are both great.
They were.
Yeah.
But I've got work to do with my friends.
Yeah. Gotta love the friends you got. Yeah. Cool. So I guess the next thing I wanted to talk about was kind of some tips for bonding with all of your villagers. I
Mm-hmm.
don't have too many because clearly I'm not good at it. They haven't given me any photos.
Oh.
So it's one thing I've definitely been lagging on, but I do at least talk to each of them each day, and I know I get some points for that at least.
Right, right.
But yeah, I guess Sergio, Nina, I'm sure you both have a lot more tips. Maybe Sergio, you can start with some.
Yeah, you're the expert, Sergio. You definitely need to start.
Well, I like to hit them hard whenever they come into the island. Like just as soon as they're coming, I send them a letter with a welcome gift
Mhm.
and like a nice welcome message, and they actually usually respond pretty much the next day. So after that, I get them to know a little bit. I get to see their houses so I can see what items they want or what things would work with their style. And then I also see, they're like the main villager color and the clothing that they like. So I start gathering presents for them. And then, like I mentioned on a previous episode, if you wrap the presents, you get more friendship points. You don't have to pick a specific color, but I like doing that. I like color coding them. Like Sky is like a light blue wolf, so I like
Mm.
using the light blue wrapping paper. And yeah, basically just keep giving them gifts, and the more friends you are with them, at some point they start accepting a gift every day. Even if you don't give them a gift every day, I definitely talk to them. I try to do that for sure. I try to talk to as many villagers as I can every day. I don't give them gifts every day because I only like giving them gifts when I have one for everyone, for all 10 villagers. I do it about 3 or 4 times a week.
Mm.
But it definitely adds up. And you know what, Shui? Maybe you already are super friends with the villagers, but it's so random to get the photos that, any day now they could surprise you with them.
Mhm.
I have noticed that I do see them like they run up to me a little bit more now. They have more thinking bubbles these days too, and
Right.
sometimes people are like, "Oh, is this person moving away?" But a lot of times it's just like, "Oh, I wanted to give you something," kind of thing.
Mhm.
Right.
So I'm just like, when is the day when they give me their photo? So yeah, I mean, maybe I'm close. I just don't know. I think what was the other event that could happen if you were on that tier of friendship with them?
They can buy things from your pockets, and you can change their greeting.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I think I
Yeah.
have changed the catchphrase for a villager. I'm not sure if
I
I changed
think,
their greeting.
yeah, and I think catchphrase comes first and greeting comes second.
Yes.
Okay, well, I guess I'm pretty close with definitely
Yeah.
a couple of them. I think Tipper asked me to change her catchphrase, and I think just today, who was it? I made it kind of obvious. Oh, it's gonna bug me. I don't remember. I don't remember, but somebody else had me change their catchphrase this morning when I played.
Hmm.
So
Oh, nice.
I could be close. But I really do like that you color code the wrapping paper for your villagers, Sergio, because I found when I would go I every time I do like a day where I'm like, all right, every single villager is getting a present today. I have to do it one at a time, like wrap them all one at a time, because I'm like,
Right.
I only buy the wrapping paper that one time when I need it, and so it's all the same color, and I get confused. And I wish I could just like wrap them all ahead of time and just know that, okay, this color is for this villager. Here you go. And
Right,
so now
right.
I think I'm just going to like look at the store every day and buy wrapping paper, just
Hmm.
different colored wrapping paper for all my villagers.
Yes.
Or what I do is I'll take the wrapping paper with me, and then when I see the person, I'll wrap the item really quick and then give it to them.
Yeah, and I mean that's kind of how I've been doing it right now. I just
Hmm.
I don't know. I feel like I've been getting lost with the presents, and it
No,
gets me
no.
scared that I'm gonna
Hmm.
mess up and give them the thing I didn't mean to give them.
Hmm.
Yeah. Cool. So I guess Nina, did you have any more tips for people?
Yeah, I have a little app on my phone that I use that tracks my like bugs and fish, but it also gives a nice little like daily chores reminder to talk to all your villagers. So I'll check them off once I've given them a present for the day.
Ooh.
And I've been wrapping and giving them presents daily for a while now, probably since Sergio first said you need to be wrapping your presents. Um, and if there's more than one thing that I think that they'll like or will look good on them, I'll just drop it outside of their house so that I remember to give it to them the next day.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
it's kind of taken away from my lily of the valleys, but it's just so
Yeah.
convenient.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I like to match their furniture to their house, like Sergio, or I like to match their like colors of their fur with the clothing that I'm giving them.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
my pirate friend gave me the best tip the other day, Diablo Shadow. He said, you know, if you go to Harvey's Island and you can take some pictures, you can dress each villager up and see what looks good on them. Because at one point I gave Lily a hair barrette, and instead of putting it like on the side of her head, she stuck it on the top of her eye. And it looked horrible. And she wears it all the time. It drives me crazy. So it just doesn't look comfortable. I wish she would stop. So if you take them to Harv's Island or call them on Harv's Island, you can see like what hats look good on them or what maybe a longer dress looks good than a shorter dress. And I
Mm.
took some pictures to save on my Switch to remember like don't give Buzz hats because they just sit weirdly on top of
Yeah.
his head. Um, which you know that it was just so helpful, and now my villagers are looking super cute all the time.
That's a really good one because at one point there were a bunch of like the star clips in my Able
Yeah.
Sisters shop, and I was like, oh man, I want one of these for like all my different villagers. So I went through and I got
Mm-hmm.
some, and I forget who it was, but they stuck it somewhere weird. I want to say it was like
Yes.
Tipper or something, and I was just like, this isn't working for you.
Some of them don't know what to do with the accessory.
Yeah, I love that Lily puts it on her eyeball.
On her eyeball. I don't understand it.
Yeah, she's got
But
a
if
pierced
worse comes to
eyelid.
worse, yeah, her eyelid. If there's not anything in the Able store, or if there's not anything in Nook's Cranny that you think will match them, you know, give them an umbrella that will look cute with them, or just wrap them up some fruit. They're always happy to get an apple.
Yeah, that's not too bad. I
Oh.
I always forget that I can give them food. You know,
Yeah,
I'm always trying to shower them with things, but sometimes they just need sustenance.
yeah, and sometimes they put those things in weird spots in their houses. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you both have such good tips. I need to start going to, I guess, Harv's place more just to dress up my villagers and see. Because I kind of found that out when I was giving Benedict a bunch of different shirts, and I was just like, I thought it would look better than this. And so I just like kept giving him some new shirts, and I was like, oh no, I don't like this one either. And now he just like cycles through all of them. He's always
Mm-hmm.
wearing a different shirt. But also when he's a lazy villager, so he's like, oh cool, this shirt's not crusty. I bet. And I'm like, okay, it's probably good that you have more than one shirt.
You need to move him next to Eunice's
I
place so he can
know.
do some laundry.
Honestly, okay, they did have a conversation together where he was thinking of being a butterfly or something, and she mentioned how winters would be rough, and then he was like, can I just live with you? And I was like, yes, and she could do
Aw.
your laundry.
Oh, that would be a sweet little pairing.
Yeah, they're great. I love them. Cool. So yeah, I guess that takes me straight into the next little portion. But I wanted to talk about villager dialogue with both of you too, and I guess a lot of people are kind of like, oh, the villagers, they just kind of like say the same thing, kind of
Hmm.
don't really do too much. But I think last week, I don't remember if it was during the show or just after the show, Nina, but you mentioned that somebody had mentioned that you have to talk to villagers 3 times and then you'll get like something more unique and actually, just special, you know?
Hmm.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, I don't remember. I don't remember if we said that before or after either, but you know, they were saying that usually the first time and maybe even the second time when you talk to them, it's something that's, happening in the moment. So they'll talk about if somebody visited or if you were breaking a lot of rocks yesterday. It's kind of
Yeah.
inconsequential stuff. But if you keep talking to them, then they get down deeper into their personality dialogue.
Yeah, which is really where you want to get to because they have done such a
Yes.
good job with these villagers. But I guess my focus on today's thing is just like, I want to talk about how my villagers have been talking to each other a lot. And I think it's mostly due to me like moving them all to one location, you know? So when they're outside of their house, they tend to like roam within a vicinity of their place. And then, they'll spread out over time and get closer to each other. But like right now, my villagers are so clumped up that constantly they're talking to each other. So, and this has really this has really inspired me to make my place very villager oriented, like making a residential space for them. So they all are kind of forced to be together all the time.
No.
Which, I mean, yeah, I guess that's the reaction. But they have such great conversations that I don't want to lose it. So here's some snippets of things that I saw. Like Kevin and Eunice were talking, and Kevin warned Eunice about glute toots if you flex your abs too hard.
Oh my gosh.
It was hilarious. And then Bon Bon was also talking with Kevin, and they were doing some improv stuff where Bon Bon was saying, "Mirror, mirror on the wall," and then she got to like, "Who's the cutest of them all?" And then Kevin says, "It is he with the cutest Maximus." That one's great. And then Henry and Roscoe were having a conversation where Henry was just talking about how he wants to be a baseball player because it's like the most stylish sport and you don't have to do anything 90% of the time. And then after that, like Roscoe just like, he tells his own story about some weird made up sport he played as a kid. Deirdre was telling Pearl how to handle bugs in her garden. And that one I won't tell you too much. It is worth seeing like an Uchi and Snooty villager have this conversation together because sometimes they'll pull you in and ask you questions. And in this one, they were just Pearl just turned to me and she was like, "What would you do if you saw a bug in your house?" And the options were just like, "I'd move," or "I'd just like take it outside." There's some pretty great ones.
Nice.
And then Deirdre and Bonbon had a really sweet one where it was kind of more of a heart to heart where I think Bonbon was reading some magazine about how to be popular or something, and they were telling her, "Oh, you just have to agree with everybody," and she was like, "No, I'm gonna have my own opinions." And Deirdre was like, "Yeah, you go, girl." That one was really cute.
So cute.
Yeah, but a lot of them have really great conversations with Bon Bon, though. Like, it's worth having, like, a peppy villager to have conversations with others, because Bon Bon was teaching Roscoe what selfies were. And at some point she was like, "If you want anyone to take you for serious, you best get on that rainbow filter like yesterday." It was so great. And then Roscoe, he tells his own story because he's like, "Oh man, I love rainbows. I once caught a leprechaun." And
oh my gosh.
yeah, they have some surprising things that they talk about together, and I just keep finding new ones, and there's like, there's going to be so many because each, I guess, personality type will bond in different ways, so even like,
or fight.
Yeah, or they'll fight. Exactly.
Yeah.
And so like right now I have the only personalities that I have repeating are Cranky and Snooty. I haven't really seen Grizzly and Roscoe talk too much, nor have I seen Pearl and Tipper talk too much. So they kind of share personalities, but I really do want to like get them together just to see what happens.
Yeah.
I wonder if double personalities aren't written as much.
I think they are, because Jackie has a bunch of lazy villagers, and she's seen them talking together quite a bit.
Oh, nice.
So I think, yeah, there's just like a lot of mixture that can happen there, and clearly there's so many different things that they can talk about.
Yeah. Oh, how cute.
Yeah, so be careful with your glute toots, everyone.
My glute toots. I love
It's
that.
so good. It's so good.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So what about you, Sergio? How are your conversations going?
Oh, they're going well. I like the way the villagers talk to each other. It's nice that they even share, I guess it's the catchphrase, but lately I've been thinking of the catchphrase as a nickname to you. It's been working well. For example, Curly, I made his catchphrase "my dude," and he's always saying, "What's up, my dude?"
Oh,
And now,
cute.
and now Wolfgang is doing the same thing, which is really funny. Like this cranky old wolf calling me my dude. It works in a very different way than with Curly, but I like the way it's working out. Yeah, it's nice that they spread the catchphrase that way. Sometimes you're part of that. Like sometimes you're talking to them and you see how the new catchphrase is gonna be spreading. Like, oh, you're saying my dude a lot. Can I say that too? And you kind of see the beginning of the new catchphrase. But I guess the funniest story that I've seen two of my villagers talking, it was Sylvia and Wolfgang. It was the sisterly with a cranky. And I go up to them and then they say, "Oh, I bet it was your ugly mug," or "No, I think it was your shrill voice." And I talked to them and like, "What are you guys talking about?" And they said, "Oh, well, we were at the park and this little kid started crying when he heard us. I bet it was his ugly face, or no, I bet it was her voice. What do you think it was?"
Oh my
And then one of the
gosh.
option was, "You guys hang out?" And I picked that one, and they said, "Oh yeah, we hang out all the time." Oh, you know what? I guess we scared the kid away with all of our insults.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's
That's a
pretty
good
funny.
one.
Oh, that's fun. I love that.
I love when they put you between a rock and a hard place, and you're
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
you're like just want to walk away slowly. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I had a really cute interaction. I think it was yesterday because Annalisa, who's a normal, and Sherry, who's a peppy, were talking, and Sherry wanted to give Tank a gift, which I thought was adorable. And she was like, "I don't know how to give him a gift," and so I told her, "Well, just ask him what he likes." And she's like, "I can't do that. I can't ask him, then he'll know." And so Annalisa was like, "Well, I'll go ask him, and then he won't know that I was asking for you." She wanted to be like a little ninja friend. And then today, Sherry was over at Tank's house, so we're gonna have some wedding bells in Keel Hall soon, I think. It was super cute.
That's awesome. I love how that just like goes together so well.
I mean, I'm sure it was totally random, but I flipped out when I went into Tank's house and Sherry was there.
Yeah.
Her present must have worked.
Yeah, and it's really cool because that's like a scenario that I haven't seen at all yet. So there's clearly like so many scenarios that can be playing through with all of these villagers, and like even like you take the same scenario and just imagine it as a different villager, it's gonna turn out so different. So yeah, I don't know. Overall, I've been enjoying the dialogue in this game. I think I don't know. I think it's going to take a lot longer to start running into duplicate stuff in the way that I feel there's a lot of unique things that the villagers can say. But at the same time, you do run into a lot of duplicate stuff in the sense of, the first thing they're going to tell you isn't going to be more than skin deep, like you mentioned, Nina, where it's just like, the villagers are going to point out something that's right there. Just today, I had finished a lot of my campsite, and then Deirdre, she lives right next to it at the moment because it's on her side of the beach right now. But she was walking around, and the first thing I talked to her, she was like, "Oh, I wonder if this log bench here will turn into a tree if it sits here long enough," or something like that. But it's definitely like focused around something just like right in front of them.
Yeah.
And, maybe it feels a little bit more realistic in the sense of like, somebody's not going to dump their life story on you the minute you meet. So the villagers aren't either,
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. But yeah, so I mean, overall, just talk to those villagers, move them close to each other. They'll start talking, like start working on some things. Like as you decorate a space, they'll walk around and they'll plop their little booties right in front of where you're working. And then you're like, okay, I was trying to do something here, but sure, you can sit. But then like other villagers start to show up, and then they start chatting with each other, and just go up and listen to those conversations. They're wonderful.
Yes,
Really
yes.
Yeah, I record a lot of mine just to remember what they talked about.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Cool. So let's go ahead and close out this show with Haken's Islander Corner. For those of you who don't know, every single week we ask our patrons on Patreon a question and then read their answers here. So this week's question was, how do you feel about wedding season at Harv's Island so far? And I guess, I don't know which one of you pulled these things, but are there any spoilers that I want to avoid in these answers?
I pulled them. I don't think there are.
Okay.
I think you should be okay.
Awesome. I mean, I'm real close. Tomorrow morning before work, I should be able to see what this whole thing is.
I think a few of them hint at changes like will be coming, but you already know that, so.
Okay, cool. Yeah, awesome. Well, let's go ahead and go for it. I guess I'll go first, and then you, Nina, then Sergio.
Okay.
All right, this first one is from Winnie World, and they said, so far, I love it. All the variations and different furniture is so cute, and it makes me feel like I'm playing Happy Home Designer again, because it's actually giving me something to do and a scene to make. And yeah, I mean, that's a good point. Like, I think for the most part, like Harv's Island, there is a lot of freedom as far as like what you can decorate and design and things, but like Happy Home Designer would at least give you some sort of theme to work around, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I do like that aspect of this too.
Yeah. Let's see. Bodhi says, I did the first 4 days, but I'm starting to skip days now. I love how the furniture and decorations look, but it's pretty repetitive doing the same, I guess, layouts. I wish we could see Reese and Cyrus return as retail store owners, because their new designs are adorable.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about in the last episode about how much we missed Reese and Cyrus and how nostalgic their music was, so it's really nice to see them return. I just don't know if we'll see them again.
Yeah, I turn up the volume whenever I'm there.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. So Alordrian said, it's so cute. It makes Harp's Island a bit more relevant. I would like some more broad briefs from Reese too, though. I guess you would want more different challenges to do or more explanation. I mean, we mentioned it earlier. Yeah, just keep going every day and things are gonna happen. And yeah, it's very nice to like finally go back to Harv's Island or to have something else to go for. And like, it's making me realize, and Nina, like you said too, how you can dress the villagers there. Yeah, we should definitely be going back there more often.
Definitely.
Yeah. So Ethan Brundine said, I think it's probably the best event so far. The furniture is really nice, and I like that it's separate from the rest of the game. If you don't want to participate, just don't go to Harv's Island. Speaking of which, it gave me a reason to go to Harv's Island, which is nice. Yeah, and that's pretty...
A lot of people are feeling that way.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't touch the place before this. I think I went twice before the whole event was introduced, so... And already, like, I like it. I'm excited about what it could mean in the future. It definitely gives me those, like, Pocket Camp vibes where every month has a new theme in Pocket Camp and you have all this new furniture to play with. And I wouldn't mind if this was a monthly thing, like just having some new furniture to mess with every day.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's see. Kakulu says, this is probably my least favorite event. I just don't care for anything wedding related, I guess. It also interrupts my playtime. With Bunny Day, I could do other things while gathering eggs and such, but there is nothing else on Harv's Island but this, and it takes a chunk of time to actually get there. I guess I find it frustrating as someone who usually really enjoys collecting all the things that this collection is somewhat tedious to complete. I usually even enjoy the tedious things. I don't know why this event has been such a swing and a miss for me, but I'm really hoping they don't do more like this in the future. So there's kind of the opposite look of it.
Yeah, but that's also a good point. Like, if you really don't care about the stuff that's there and you're trying to collect everything, I definitely see why that would feel like a hassle.
Yeah. And I'm finding that I like the recolor of a lot of the items more than the original pink and white, which has helped my inspiration a little bit. Like, I'm especially bringing home a lot of the candles. But I'm kind of the same. A lot of the wedding stuff I'm just not going to use.
Yeah, and I agree. Like, I kind of recolored things on accident, and I was just like, oh man, when do I get to do these things? I went back the next day, and I was like, why still pink and white? Can I mess with the other stuff a little bit? But that makes me realize, like, I didn't check if there were recolors for the organ, because I definitely want to know that.
Yeah, you'll have to play around with it some more.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's true. It's very like disconnected from everything. You even have to remember to bring your heart crystals if you want to buy something.
Yeah.
Instead of having them like available only there, maybe that would be better. So yeah, I can see your point, Kakulu. But I mean, it depends on how you approach it. I guess it would be better if it was connected somehow. If you could do it as part of your progress in the regular island without having to go somewhere else.
And I'll say I've forgotten to bring my heart crystals each and every time except for today. And then when I went, I was just like, oh, I don't even know what I've already gotten. So I'm at that point where I'm like, all right, spreadsheet time to write down all these items, see what I have already, cross them off, and then go back and just focus on getting the ones that I don't have.
Yeah, because some of them they give you for free, so you've got to keep that in mind too.
Yeah, that too.
Nice. And our last answer is by Norma Reynolds, and they said, it's awesome. This is the type of event I like to last all month. I also like when I unlock the ability to do more than one thing per day. Yeah, we mentioned earlier, this event just keeps giving you different things. You get a free item, you get the heart crystals which you can exchange for different things, and you get even more things, let's just say. So, it's been so good.
Yeah, and I do want to point out, this was a message from Henry, age 9. I think their mom has become a patron for him. Aww. So, really cute. So yeah, Henry here, he's a fan.
Age 9. We're gonna have to visit Henry's Island sometime. How cool.
Yeah, so really awesome to hear all of these things. I really like getting just everybody's different perspective on it and see how they've been enjoying all the different stuff that can happen. And yeah, we'll see what happens in the future with the event. If it's not for you, it's fine. It doesn't have to be for you. Maybe the next one will be cool. Because like I said earlier in this episode, like, it's the end of the month. The end of essentially the DLC that we knew about, So at some point, Nintendo's got to update us on what the rest is,
Oh, except for the bug off, right? We've got a bug off coming up.
Right, yeah, there's a bug off coming up.
And then that's it.
I want to say, is that on the 20th this month?
Oh, I don't know.
I'm not sure at all. So it could be very soon. But usually they're on a Saturday, and I want to say it's on the 20th.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there will be more things to look out for. If you haven't, go and check the Nook shopping app or the Nook Stop. There's some new stuff for the summer solstice and the winter solstice, so get those items. Nina, Sergio, we're going to have to talk and see what items we got, because I don't remember if there's variations of this one, actually. There might not be. But yeah, check those out, and thank you all so much for tuning in to this episode of Haken, an Animal Crossing podcast. Don't want the episode to end? Well, you can keep the conversation going by Nintendo switching over to our Discord. Just follow the link in the description, and you can talk with other people who love Animal Crossing as much as you do, including Sergio, Nina, and me. Want to support the show in a bigger way and get your voice heard during the show? Visit patreon.com/ChewiePlaysNintendo. You can support our show with just $1, get special access to a secret room on Discord, join in on the Haken Islander Corner, and even read a monthly newsletter covering all things Haken and Chewie Plays. We really appreciate the support and put your money towards some great things on the show. Tuned in on YouTube? The comments are a great place to let us know your answers to the Haken Islander Corner. How do you feel about the wedding season at Harv's Island so far? If you dig what you hear, please KK slide over to that review section on your platform of choice. Let people know what they're missing out on. Haken is a wild production brought to you by Chewy, Sergio, Nina, and all of our patrons. We thank you for listening, and we hope you have a great week.
Goodbye, everybody.
See you guys next time.